As we begin to talk about culture and identity, it's important to define the meaning of this concept. Here is the definition of the UNESCO. Culture is a set of distinctive spiritual, material, intellectual and emotional features of a society or a social group that compasses not only art and literature, but lifestyles, ways of living together, value systems, traditions and beliefs. Our aim is preserving cultural identity through dialects, but firstly we are going to give a definition to this sentence. Preserving cultural identity is a multifaceted endeavor that encompasses safeguarding the unique characteristics and expression of a community or a group. This includes maintaining traditions, customs, languages, and dialects that define a group's heritage. Cultural identity refers to the shared attributes, beliefs, and practices that bind a community together, fostering a sense of belonging and continuity. Dialects, as regional or social variation of a language, are integral to this identity, encapsulating the distinct linguistic features of specific groups. Dialects serve as linguistic time capsules, preserving archaic words, phrases, and pronunciations that echo a community's cultural heritage. They are not merely variations within a language, but are often considered separate entities, each with its own rich history and cultural significance. By maintaining their dialects, communities assert their identity and resist external influences, ensuring that their unique cultural narratives and traditions are passed down through generations. The aim of this discussion is to explore how dialects play a crucial role in preserving cultural identity globally. By examining the relationship between dialects and cultural heritage, we can better understand the importance of linguistic diversity and the need to protect and to promote dialects as vital components of cultural identity.
Dialects and minority languages are fundamental in expressing and preserving cultural identity. They provide the speakers with a sense of belonging, uniqueness, and authenticity. Serving as markers of social and geographical identity, these linguistic forms reflect the historical traditions and cultural heritage of their communities. However, external pressures, such as globalization, often challenge their preservation, leading to the erosion of unique cultural perspectives. Dialects mirror a community's values, traditions, and worldview. They evolve alongside societies, adapting to new cultural and social contexts, while preserving oral traditions, folklore, and collective memory. Minority and indigenous languages are particularly crucial for maintaining cultural practices and knowledge systems, which may otherwise be devalued or lost due to social and economic pressures. Italy, regional dialects like Sicilian and Venetian are deeply tied to local traditions and identities. Latin America, indigenous languages and dialects serve as vital links to ancestral knowledge and cultural heritage. Europe, minority languages such as Basque, Galician and Catalan hold co-official status in Spain, safeguarding regional identities. United States, regional speech variations like Southern, Northeastern and Midwestern dialects demonstrate the significance of dialects in reflecting diverse cultural backgrounds. Additionally, the European Charter for Regional or Minority Languages underscores efforts to protect and promote such languages, emphasizing their centrality to cultural identity.
The decline of the dialect is becoming a global concern as globalization, urbanization, and dominant languages like English grow. Many regional dialects are fading. Dialects are not just different ways of speaking, they are closely tied to culture, history, and identity. When dialect disappears, community risks losing important tradition, knowledge, and values. Several factors are causing dialects globalization. As people communicate more globally, languages like English become more common in business, media, and technology. Younger people often see regional dialects as less useful. Urbanization. People moving to city for better life and better living condition tend to adopt national languages. Dialects spoken mainly in rural areas lose their importance in city life. National language dominance. School, government, and media often prioritize national languages, leaving less space for dialects. Losing dialects mean more than just losing words. It's about losing local knowledge and cultural traditions. Dialect include unique words for local plants, farming practice, and costumes that national languages might not capture. Folk tales, songs, and tradition often pass through dialects, and this can be lost when the dialect disappears. government and cultural initiatives. Dialects like Sicilian and Napolitan are even shown on regional TV. Technology's role. Websites like Udemy and YouTube also provide resources to help people learn, and social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok help spread dialect, especially among young people. Community effort. Local communities celebrate dialects through festivals with poetry, music, and theater. Some areas have schools or volunteer-run classes dedicated to teaching dialect to younger generation.
Preserving dialects benefits not only the individual who speak them, but also the global community. Dialects are much more than simple language variations. They are a veritable mine of words, expressions, and idioms that reflect the history and cultural identity of a particular society. One important benefit of preserving dialects is the conservation of cultural heritage and history. Dialects are deeply rooted in the history of a community and reflect the various changes that have occurred, such as migrations, the influences of other peoples, and globalization. They carry centuries of history that are passed down over time. For example, many Native American tribes use their dialects not only to communicate, but also to preserve oral histories and traditions from being erased. Similar examples of this phenomenon can be found in Lowland Scotland, where Scots and Scottish English are spoken, and in parts of Northern Ireland. Dialects also foster a sense of belonging and identity, and this can start from a very early age. Research shows that children who grow up speaking a dialect alongside the national language develop a solid cultural identity. For example, in Switzerland, children use Swiss German for everyday conversations, but they speak High German when they are at school. This capacity that can be described as bidialectism, which is the use of two different dialects of the same language, has proven to offer the same cognitive benefits as those of multilingualism. Mental flexibility, better problem-solving skills, greater attention, and the ability to discern useful information from the useless one. Moreover, preserving dialects is key to creativity and innovation, because by offering new and unique ways to express concepts, they can lead people to see reality from a different perspective, encouraging new ideas. Overall, preserving the loss of dialects goes far beyond the simple loss of a language. It also involves the loss of everything it carries with it: traditions, cultural identities, pride and belonging to one's community, creativity, and above all, innovation.
To begin with, we sent out a questionnaire to people of different nationalities: Italy, Paraguay, Philippines, and Germany, aged 10 to 75. We collected information about their linguistic customs and reported them in the following graph. First one provides an overview of how frequently the respondents speak their dialect on a daily basis. And overall, it can be observed that 26 people of all the ages involved, out of a total of 37, use it either sometimes, often, or almost always, which is a positive trend as long as our topic of research is concerned. In addition, we asked them to specify whether they live or were raised in a town or a city, in order to be aware of their hometown background. And the graph indicates that a slight majority of 17.2% belongs to smaller or rural areas, which is certainly a factor that has influenced their perspectives on local cultural identity. Then we moved on to more specific questions, starting from personal experience to opinions concerning the disappearing of local languages used for communication. For example, the two charts showed an upward trend regarding the generational transmission of idioms within families. This pie chart shows different views on whether new generations are more likely to approach and learn dialects. The majority, 41.7%, answered maybe, followed by 30.6% saying yes and 27.8% responding no, highlighting mixed feelings rather than hopes for the future and commitment towards our cultural identity. Moreover, this one explores the idea of a hypothetical introduction of the teaching of dialects as a subject in schools, asking people if they consider it useful. Responses were nearly split, with 51.4% in favor and 48.6% against. And finally, the last chart examines the belief that globalization has made local languages less relevant. According to it, a slight majority, 54.1%, mostly belonging to the age group from 45 to 60 years, agrees with this statement, while 45.9% disagree, revealing an ongoing debate about the cultural effects of globalization. This indicates that perspectives on the preservation of local languages remain divided.
The preservation of dialects and minority languages is crucial for maintaining cultural diversity and identity. Notable examples include Greek dialect in the south of Italy, Welsh in Wales, the Nauruan language of the Nauru Island, and Cantonese in China.
Greco, an ancient Greek dialect, is spoken in the regions of Calabria and Apulia in southern Italy. Recognized by the European Union as an endangered language, initiatives have been undertaken to introduce Greco into the educational system. This legal protection aims to revitalize the language by teaching it to younger generations, thereby preserving the traditional culture associated with it. Despite these efforts, the Greco-speaking community faces challenges. The introduction of Greco in schools has, paradoxically, led some community members to feel that the urgency to preserve the language has diminished, potentially impacting its transmission within families and daily life. The Welsh language has experienced a significant revival over recent decades. The Welsh government strategy, SIMREG 2050, aims to increase the number of Welsh speakers to 1 million by 2050. This plan includes integrating Welsh into various services and encouraging its use in daily life. A report by the Commission for Welsh-speaking Communities recommends granting local councils more authority to implement policies that support the Welsh language, especially in areas with high concentrations of Welsh speakers. This approach seeks to empower communities to take active roles in preserving their linguistic heritage. The Nauruan language, spoken by fewer than 6,000 people on the small Pacific island of Nauru, is another example of a minority language facing challenges in preservation, classified as vulnerable by the UNESCO. While efforts to include Nauruan in the national education system aim to revitalize the language, the dominance of English in daily life and government poses a challenge. Additionally, shifting gender roles and societal changes have disrupted the traditional methods of language transmission, particularly by women. To ensure the survival of Nauruan, there is a need for targeted initiatives that empower communities, especially women, to actively promote and teach the language to future generations.
Cantonese, spoken in southern China, Hong Kong, and among global communities, is a cornerstone of Chinese culture, distinct from Mandarin. It carries a rich literary and artistic history with tonal complexity, offering insights into the region's evolution. Yet, Cantonese faces challenges from the rise of Mandarin as China's dominant language. Preserving Cantonese ensures the diversity of Chinese cultural expression and honors the identities of millions.
In conclusion, preserving dialects is vital for maintaining cultural identity and diversity. They reflect a community's traditions, history, and worldview. However, globalization and urbanization threaten their survival. Efforts like education, technology, and cultural programs can help protect dialects, ensuring their transmission to future generations while preserving the unique cultural heritage they represent.